A very good morning to all my students. This is again your Srijita ma'am with your English literature class. I think you are all very much okay, staying fit at home, staying healthy, right? In the last day, I have started a very exciting story with you, that is native wisdom, and only a little part I have taught you people from that story, right? And I think you are very much excited, very much eager to listen to the next part of the story, isn't it? The previous portion that I have taught you people, I think it's very much clear to you. It is all about Amazon rainforest. I have told you about the Amazon rainforest, and I have also told you to find out some informations regarding rainforests from the internet. So, have you taken out? Have you seen the informations? Have you researched for it? I think you have all done it. So, you have gathered much more knowledge from it, isn't it? So, today we will start the next part of the story from native wisdom, isn't it? I hope you are all eager to listen to it first. So, let's start. Follow your text while I am teaching, right? One day, Leon was accompanying a rich tourist who had come on a business trip to Brazil and wanted to see the rainforest. So, what happened on one day? One day, Leon, while he was accompanying means while he was giving company to a particular person. Accompany means giving company to a particular person. So while he was accompanying a rich tourist who had come to Amazon rainforest on a business trip to Brazil and wanted to see the rainforest. Okay. Unfortunately, this was the kind of man who thought of forests only in terms of wood that could be extracted and who thought that all forest dwellers were stupid and ignorant only because they often could not read and write. So, what does this mean? So, the rich tourist who has come to this particular place, this particular Amazon rainforest, thinks that forest is only for the purpose of wood. Forest is only for the purpose of trees, that whose woods have to be collected for making furnitures, for making our beneficial things. Okay, he thinks forest is for that purpose only and not for other things. Okay, this type of rich tourist also used to think that these forest dwellers means people who live within the forest areas. Okay, used to think that these types of forest people were very much stupid and ignorant. Why they are stupid and ignorant? And do you know what is stupid and what is ignorant? Stupid means very much foolish. Okay, and ignorant means those who doesn't know anything. Okay, so this type of rich tourists used to think that the forest dwellers were very much stupid and ignorant. Why? because according to this type of rich tourist, he thinks that the forest dwellers doesn't know how to read and write. For this reason, he thinks that the forest dwellers were very much stupid and ignorant. But this cannot be a reason, no. A person who doesn't know how to read and write, we cannot say that particular person as stupid and ignorant. This is so bad, isn't it? So that is the thing. Okay. Now see the rest of the part of the story. Ah, Buckman, he said to Leon. So what does your rainforest have that is worth seeing? So, Buckman, who is telling this to whom? The rich tourist is telling this to Leon. And what does this word Buckman means? Buckman means a rude way to refer to a forest dweller, or you can say it is a rude way to address a particular person. Okay, so he is asking that what does your rainforest have that is worth seeing, means what are the important things, what does your rainforest have to see which is worthy enough to look at. Okay, actually the thing is, you must be remembering, I have told few lines before that this particular rich tourist thinks that the forest is only for the purpose of wood that has to be extracted for our beneficial purposes. Okay, so he is thinking that the forest is nothing, or the forest is not so important, not so adventurous to look at. Okay, so he is asking the Leon, the guide, that what is there in your forest to see that is worthy enough. Okay, Leon did not reply except to say, Sir, my name is Leon. Now, as he has said, as the rich tourist has addressed him as Buckman, Leon felt very sad. This must be happening, no? So, Leon has replied nothing to him except he has said that, Sir, my name is Leon. So, please address me with my name only. Okay, don't call me by some other name. Okay. No offense, Pal, said the man, but all you South American tribesmen are called Buckmen, aren't you? The rich tourist is telling, no offense, Pal. If I have addressed you as Buckman also, that is not a offense. Okay, the rich tourist is so confident about himself. He is telling that if I have said you Buckman also, it's not a often, it's not wrong. And Pal means friend. Okay. He is also telling, but all of you South American tribesmen are called Buckmen, aren't you? He is telling that he thinks that all the people of South American tribesmen, means tribal people, used to call each other as Buckmen, isn't it? He is asking Leon. Not by our friends, said Leon. Leon is telling that no, sir, not by our friends, means Leon's friends doesn't call anybody as Buckman. Okay. Just then, Leon saw a trail off the bank of the river. Just at that moment, Leon has seen a trail. Trail means, I have told you, na, it's a narrow path made by such animals like tapir, pecaries, isn't it? So he has seen a trail off the bank of the river beside. Okay. So he brought the boat they had been traveling into the side and tied it to an overhanging branch. Okay. So what he has done, what Leon has done, he brought the boat with which they were traveling into the side. He has tied it to the overhanging branch. Overhanging branch means the branch that is hanging over their heads. Okay, he has tied that particular boat with which they were traveling to it. Okay, he and his companion then got out of the boat and stepped onto the trail. He and his companion means, he means Leon, and his companion means the person whom he was giving company, that is the rich tourist. Then got out of the boat and stepped onto the trail. So, what they have done? They got out of that boat and stepped onto the trail, onto that particular narrow path. Okay. Leon bent down and took his shoes off, and having tied them together by their laces, threw them over his left shoulder. Now, what Leon has done? Leon bent down and took off his shoes, having them tied together by their laces. By their laces means by the shoelaces. Okay, threw them over his left shoulder. Why Leon has done like this? Let's see. His companion was confused by this and said, "Hey man, shoes are for the fit, not for carrying over your shoulder. If I were you, I would wear them." Now, who is telling this to whom? It is the rich tourist who was telling this to Leon, right? He is telling, he became very much confused while looking at Leon, who has opened his shoes, tied them up, and put those shoes upon his left shoulder. Now, what this person is telling, what this rich tourist is telling, "Hey man, shoes are for the fit," means he is telling to Leon that shoes are for the fit, means shoes are supposed to be on the fit. Okay, not for carrying over your shoulder, not for carrying upon the shoulder. I will, if I were you, I would wear them, means if I was there in place of you, I would have been wearing my shoes upon my feet. Okay. Leon did not say anything and walked along barefoot. By listening to this, Leon did not say anything. He was walking barefoot. Barefoot means without any shoes. Okay. Shaking his head in confusion at the stupidity of the natives, the tourist followed his guide. Shaking his head in confusion. Shaking his head in confusion means who is doing this? The rich tourist is shaking his head in confusion, means he cannot understand why Leon is doing like this. No, that is why he became very much confused. He was shaking his head in confusion at the stupidity of the natives. As you all know now, that these types of rich tourists used to think this particular forest dwellers are very much stupid. So he were very much confused about the stupidity of the natives, but he needs to follow the particular guide. No, he needs to follow Leon, so he was following his guide, right? They passed through solid vegetation, dark, damp, and appearing to be devoid of any living being. So, what they were doing? They passed through solid vegetation. They passed through such areas that were very much filled up or covered up with solid vegetation. It is dark in color, it looks dark in color, it is damp, means it is not at all dry, it is wet. all over, as there is full of streams all over. You already know about it, right? And appearing means it seems to be devoid of any living being. Devoid means without. It seems that there is no living being at all. Okay. It was only when Leon stopped and drew his attention that the tourist would see the many, many different creatures of the rainforest. It was only when Leon has stopped while walking and drew his attention means make the tourist notice at something. At what thing? See, that the tourist would see many, many different creatures of the rainforest. So Leon has made him notice the different creatures of the rainforest. Okay. By this time, you already know now that this type of rich tourist would like to think that forest is only for the purpose of woods and nothing else. So this Leon, this guide, is trying to make him understand, trying to make him notice what are the different or various things a rainforest have. Okay, now let us see what he is noticing. He would realize, for instance, that the moth he was flitting, he would realize, for instance, that the moth he saw flitting from flower to flower in a forest glade was actually a hummingbird. Now, this particular rich tourist realized that, for instance, for a particular moment, the moth that he has seen flitting from one flower to another flower in a forest glade. Glade means a clearing or an open space in the forest. Okay, that usually had grass growing in it. So he has seen a particular moth who was fleeting, who was moving from one flower to another flower, was actually a hummingbird, but not a moth. Okay. The thick liana draped over a fallen tree with a richly patterned bark had a flat head at one end of it, for it was really a boa constrictor lying in wait for its prey. Now, what is the another thing that he has seen? Let's see. The thick liana. Liana means a thick woody climber. Climber means climber plants, isn't it? So liana is a thick woody climber that grows on trees. It is a climber plant that grows on trees. So it seems that the next item that he has seen is a thick liana that is draped over a fallen tree. Draped over a fallen tree means wrapping over a fallen tree. So, with a richly patterned bark means richly, you can say marvelous, beautiful. Okay, and patterned bark means design. Pattern means a particular design. Okay, some patterns upon the bark of that tree. Okay, had a flat head at one end of it, means at the one end of that particular tree having a flat head. Okay, for it was really a boa constrictor lying in wait for its prey. So the thing is, The second thing, what the rich tourist has seen is not actually liana, but it is in really a boa constrictor. Boa constrictor means, it is a snake that kills its prey by winding itself around its victim and suffocating it. Okay, so this particular thing which seems to him as liana, as a climber plant who is wrapping a particular tree, was actually a boa constrictor, that means a snake, okay, who was lying there for its own prey. Okay, he would reach out to pick its pretty flower, only to have Leon spin around, strike his hand away, and tell him that what he was about to touch was a dangerous nettle. Now, can you think of it? What this rich tourist was doing? He would reach out to pick its pretty flower, means he was trying to pick a particular pretty flower. At that very moment, what Leon has done? Leon has spin around means turned around quickly, strike his hand away. Strike his hand away means whose hand? The rich tourist's hand, away from that particular place, and told him that what he was about to touch was a dangerous nettle. Dangerous nettle means, it is a kind of plant that stings. There are particular type of plants in the forest which can sting. Okay, so see, Leon was the native tourist, and sorry, Leon was the native person of that particular forest. He knows everything of that forest. Okay, so he has helped, or he has prevented the rich tourist not to touch that particular pretty flower, which seems that it was a pretty flower, but it was not like that at all. It was a dangerous nettle which could have sting him. Okay. Soon they came to a point where they had to wade across a stream. What happens? Soon they came to such a particular point where they had to wade. Wade means walk through the water with some effort. Walking through the water must be very much difficult, isn't it? So it is walking through the water with some effort. So soon they came to a particular point where they need to walk through the water across. Okay. The tourist took off his shoes and laughed out loud when he saw Leon putting on his shoes. Now, what the tourist has done? Now, see, the tourist has done like us only. If we were there in place of the tourist, we could have done the same thing. Whenever we have seen water in the, suppose you only think na, in the rainy times, where there is full of water, where there are puddles of water, you must have opened your shoes while walking so that your shoes doesn't get wet, isn't it? So the rich tourist also have done the same thing. He took off his shoes and laughed out loud when he has seen that Leon is putting on his shoes this time. Okay, now why Leon is doing like this? Let's see. Man, this takes the cake, he said. If you wade through water with shoes on, your shoes will get wet and spoiled. Now, see what the man is telling, what the rich tourist is telling. The rich tourist is telling that, man, this takes the cake. Now, see, this takes the cake is particularly a it has been told for the mocking purpose. Mocking purpose means it has been told for the joking purpose, to make a joke on Leon, right? And this takes the cake means here it is an informal and mocking way of saying this is so strange that it is hard to believe. Now it is strange. Now we normal people also will be thinking that while walking through the water we must be opening our shoes. But if a person certainly changes his mind and wears his shoe, we will be thinking na, that this is something which is hard to believe, isn't it? So the rich tourist is also thinking like this. He is thinking that this is really very much hard to believe, and he has told this particular word in order to make a joke upon Leon, right? And what he is telling, if you would wade through water with shoes on, your shoes will get wet and spoilt. Now, see, this thing we also would have been thinking if we were there in that particular place, isn't it? We will also be thinking that if we pass through the water wearing our shoes will get wet and spoilt. The same thing the rich tourist is also thinking. Okay, now see. Leon did not say anything and entered the knee deep water. Leon, by wearing his shoes only, did not answer anything to the rich tourist but entered the knee deep water, means the water is deep till knee length. Okay. His companion, still shaking with laughter at the stupidity of his guide, followed. His companion means the rich tourist. Okay. Still shaking with laughter means still shaking his head with laughter at the stupidity of at the foolishness of the guide, that means Leon, and followed him. Halfway across the stream, the tourist yelled with pain and fell into the water. Now, see what has happened. Halfway across the stream means when they have moved halfway, means the middle portion of that particular stream. The tourist yelled, the tourist shouted with pain and fell into the river. Okay, see what happens. With great difficulty, Leon hauled him out to the bank and discovered that he had been stung by a stingray. Now, see what happens. With great difficulty, Leon hauled him. Leon hauled him means pulled or dragged with great difficulty, with great effort. So, somehow he has managed to pull or drag the rich tourist out of the bank and discovered that he was stung by a stingray. Okay. Now, students, can you understand how this Leon, who was the native of that particular place, knows each and everything very well of that place, of that rainforest, where we are supposed to wear our shoes? The Leon, the guide, is telling not to wear the shoes. Where we are not supposed to wear our shoes, Leon is telling to wear the shoes in order to prevent us only. And that is the reason why Leon was putting on his shoes while wading across the stream, so that none like this happened. Nothing like this happened means nothing, no stingray could have stung like this. Okay. Now, what is the stingray? See, the stingray is a flat fish that lies buried in the sand in the stream beds and uses the sting in its long whip like tail to hit and paralyze its prey. Now, what is this? The stingray is a particular type of flat fish that lies buried in the sand, that lies buried means inside the sand in stream beds means in the water beds, and uses the sting in its long whip like tail. In its long whip like tail means his tail seems like a whip and it is long enough. Whip means, you know na, it is a, what will I say, it is a leather type of leather belt like, which has been used in the previous times in order to beat somebody. So the tail is like a long whip and the sting is upon it, which this particular fish uses in order to hit and paralyze its prey. Paralyze means something which makes it unable to move or fill. Okay. It also uses this as a defense when someone is about to step on it. So, this particular fish uses this sting in order to defense. Defense means in order to save himself, in order to protect himself when someone is about to step on it. About to step on it means as this rich tourist has done. As the rich tourist stepped upon him, so the stingray uses his sting in order to protect him. Okay. So, when Leon had been able to soothe the pain of his companion with a salve from certain leaves, he said to him, where the eye can't see is where people need shoes. Where the eye can see, you don't need shoes. It is not my shoes that I am worried about, it's my fit. Now, what the Leon is telling, what the guide is telling, let's see. Leon is telling now, when Leon had been able to soothe the pain means release the pain. Okay, give relief of the pain. Okay, to his companion, to the rich tourist, with a salve from certain leaves. Salve means a oily balm. You know balm, Jhandu balm or something like that. You know now. So salve is a oily balm from certain leaves. He said to him that where I can't see is where people need shoes. Now, this is the actual phenomenon, this is the actual rule of passing through such rainforest, that is Amazon rainforest. And this particular thing can be known by those people only who are the native inhabitants of that particular place. And as you all know, that Leon was the native or the inhabitant of that particular rainforest area who has taken birth in that rainforest only. He knows everything, each and every little thing of that rainforest. So, what he was suggesting, he is telling that where I can't see, where our eyes cannot see anything, there we need to wear our shoes. Can you understand? Means inside the water, inside the stream, we cannot see anything, right? So Leon was telling where eyes cannot see anything, we must be wearing our shoes. Okay. But he was also telling that where the eye can see means we can see something, we don't need shoes. So you must be remembering now that when Leon and his companion was moving through the trails, through the narrow paths. Leon was opening his shoes and putting those shoes upon his left shoulder and seeing that thing. The rich tourist was laughing in confusion, isn't it? So, this is the reason. According to Leon, who was the native of that particular rainforest area, that people should not be wearing shoes where we can see everything. Okay, he was also telling that it is not my shoes that I am worried about. He was telling that it is not my shoes. It is not my shoes means it is not the shoes that I will be worrying about. It is not the shoes that we will be worrying about, but it's my fit. It's my fit means it is our fit about which we must be worried about. So, can you understand what he is telling? He is telling that we should not be thinking about our shoes. We must be thinking, we must be worrying about our own fit so that we can prevent our fit from getting stung by some stingrays or something like that. Okay. So, this is all about the story. You people also can follow this, students. If you ever go to such rainforest area, such Amazon rainforest area, you can also follow this phenomenon of Leon. I do not know how much it is proved, but according to Leon, where people can see, there is no need of wearing the shoes. Where people cannot see, there is the need of wearing the shoes in such Amazon rainforest areas. Okay, so I hope you have liked the story. It's good, na? It's good enough than the previous stories. We could have done it before, isn't it? But it's okay, na? We are going according to the syllabus. And yes, this story is from your May month syllabus. Okay. I hope you have liked the story, and this story is very much informative. Yes, it is informative. No, we come to know very important things which we do not know actually about the rainforest areas. This is adventurous. This is much more knowledgeable, isn't it? So here completes, and this story is from The Holy Cat and the Other Sufi Stories by M. Iyer Baig. Right. So I hope you have all enjoyed the story. I hope you do not have any confusion regarding it, right? But then also, students, if you have any confusion about the story, about about anything that you have not understood, any such portions if there which you have not understood, that you can tell it to me. But before that, I must tell that you hear my video clip, this hear this audio lecture twice or thrice, try to understand, go through each and every line of the text, try to understand by your own. If then also if you have any problem, then I am always there to help you, students. You all know now that there will be a live meeting session on Friday, and I have also told you the mentioned timing. I have also told you the time for it. It is also already mentioned in the Google Classroom that you have. So if you have any doubt, any problem regarding any of the stories that you have done till this much means the three stories that sorry the three stories no two stories and one poem you have done till this much. So if you have any problem regarding this three things, you can obviously share your doubts to me through a message, through the chat box in the Google Meet and all, or you can do another thing also, that in the Google Classroom also, where in the stream section where you can write some comments and all that na? In that particular place also you can tell me whatever or what are the problems that you are facing in understanding. Okay, and I will definitely try to solve you out. Okay, so thank you class, here I'm completing today.